My name is Natalie Anderson, and nothing in my life prepared me for the moment I realized I had become invisible to the man I loved. For 6 years, I gave everything to Tyler. We met when I was 23 and struggling to find my footing in New York City. He was charming, attentive, funny, everything I thought I needed. He worked in marketing and always talked about the future, about us, about the family we'd build together once we were more stable. Stability, however, became a moving target. Every year, there was a new goal, more savings, a better job, another promotion. I stayed loyal. I believed him. I built our life piece by piece, always assuming he'd do the same. But everything changed the day his best friend Jason passed away in a tragic car accident. I remember holding Tyler's hand at the funeral, his palm cold and clammy. He didn't cry, not in the way I expected, but he was distant, hollow, as if he had locked a part of himself away with Jason's casket. Jason left behind a wife, Alyssa, and a baby girl who had just turned 2. I didn't know Alyssa well, only saw her during barbecues or the occasional double date. She always seemed quiet, soft-spoken, reserved in the way that made you feel like she was hiding her real thoughts. A few days after the funeral, Tyler started spending more time with her. He told me it was to help out and support her through grief. I believed him, again. But 3 weeks later, over dinner, Tyler dropped a bomb on me. "I want to have a baby," he said, cutting his steak as if he were talking about changing toothpaste brands. I blinked, fork halfway to my mouth. "With me?" I asked, my voice shaky. He looked up.
"No."
"With Alyssa." I thought I misheard him. My hands trembled. "You want to have a baby with your friend's widow?" I repeated. He nodded, wiping his mouth with a napkin like this was some boardroom discussion. "Jason wanted another child. Alyssa feels alone. And I think we could, preserve his legacy. I'd raise the kid like mine. And don't look at me like that, it doesn't change us. You and I, we're still solid." That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling in the dark, my heart pounding like it wanted to escape my chest. Tyler's words echoed in my head. The man who once held me like I was the only thing that mattered now wanted to father a child with someone else for his dead friend's memory. I didn't know what to call that: insanity, betrayal, delusion. The next morning I left. Not forever, at least not then. I stayed at a friend's apartment for a few days. I didn't answer Tyler's calls. He messaged, "You're overreacting. It's not cheating. This is about friendship and loyalty." But none of it made sense. Nothing could justify what he wanted. I returned to work at Caldwell Industries after taking 2 personal days. My job as the executive assistant to Christian Hale, the CEO, was intense, but I loved the structure, the clarity. Christian was a man of few words, brilliant and bold, and notoriously private. I never thought he noticed me beyond scheduling meetings and arranging flights, but that day, something in him shifted. "Rough weekend?" he asked, eyes not leaving his laptop. I hesitated before nodding. "Personal stuff." He finally looked up. "If you ever need a break or someone who actually listens, my door's open." That one sentence cracked something in me. I smiled for the first time in days. Over the next few weeks, Christian kept checking in. Nothing over the top, just small moments that felt real, bringing me coffee, asking about my weekend, once even showing me a photo of his golden retriever, Bear, after I mentioned how much I missed my childhood dog. I started staying late at work, partly to avoid going back to an empty apartment, and partly because Christian made the office feel warm in a way Tyler never had. Tyler, meanwhile, continued spiraling. He sent me articles about modern families and emotional polyamory. He tried guilt, saying Alyssa needed him and that I should grow up and see the bigger picture. Every message made it clearer. He had chosen a fantasy over reality, and I was no longer part of his plan. One rainy Friday night, I was still at the office when Christian passed by my desk and paused. "You really don't like going home, do you?" he asked softly. I looked up, surprised. "Home doesn't feel like home anymore." He nodded slowly, then said, "I've got an extra umbrella. Walk with me." We walked to a nearby cafe. The rain fell hard outside, but inside, everything felt warm. Our table, his laugh, the way he actually listened without trying to fix me. He didn't pry, just asked, "What happened?" And I told him, not everything, not at once, but enough that he leaned back and said, "You deserve better." We started having coffee together often after that. Sometimes after work, sometimes before. Then dinner. Then one weekend, when I had nowhere to go, he invited me to his estate in the Hamptons. I almost said no, but I was tired of running. When I arrived, he greeted me at the door barefoot, wearing a navy sweater, holding Bear in one arm. For the first time in months, I felt peace. That weekend, we walked the beach, cooked pasta together, played fetch with Bear, and sat by the fireplace sharing quiet thoughts. On Sunday night, he asked, "What if I told you that I've been waiting for the right woman for years? Someone smart, kind, strong. Someone who knows what she wants." My chest tightened. What if I'm still figuring that out? He smiled. "Then I'll wait." From then on, everything changed. We didn't rush. Christian was patient, careful. He respected my boundaries and made me feel like I mattered. And slowly I fell, not in the dramatic, whirlwind kind of way, but like I had finally come home. 6 months later, I married him. It wasn't a lavish wedding, despite his wealth. Just close friends, a garden, Bear wagging his tail in a bow tie. As we exchanged vows, I looked into Christian's eyes and realized something. I wasn't just escaping my past. I was building a future with someone who truly saw me. A few days after the wedding, Tyler showed up outside our office building. He looked shocked to see me in a white blouse, diamond ring flashing under the sun. "You married him?" he blurted. I smiled politely. "Yes." "You didn't even tell me." "You didn't ask," I replied. "You were too busy trying to build a family with someone else." He stood there, stunned. Then finally, quietly, he said, "I didn't think you'd actually leave." And I knew, in that moment, that he had always underestimated me. He never thought I'd walk away, find someone better, love myself enough to start over. But I did. And it changed everything. Because sometimes heartbreak is a beginning in disguise. And sometimes love doesn't come with promises and plans. It comes with peace, honesty, and the kind of kindness that never asks you to break yourself in half just to fit someone else's dream.